because I'll be honest, this is a little weird for me. I dearly, dearly miss Amanda, and, you know, hopefully she'll be back sometime soon. It's your girl Cassie here, and you might notice that this week's episode looks to be a little different than normal. I sadly don't have my co-host with me today, Amanda. She's dealing with some personal things, and so, you know, someone has to keep the show going. So I figured, as awkward as it feels, I would give it a shot and see what I can do to keep our episode going. So I hope that you guys aren't too bored listening to me. This is my first time doing a podcast by myself, so it's probably not going to be that long of an episode. But I do have a few things that I want to talk to you guys about today, so we will get into that. But I'm doing fine. Everything is great. I had a beautiful weekend. And I hope that you guys have been enjoying this weather, even though it's like super hot, but you know, I prefer it over winter time, so I hope you guys are really enjoying it and getting out there and doing things. But let's see, what do I want to get into? The first thing is, I don't know if you guys have seen this viral video going out there, but it's about a nurse who recorded herself grieving over a patient that she lost, and she's getting a lot of backlash for it because people are saying it's insensitive and that she just wants attention, and like they're just saying like all these really mean, like cruel things because this nurse decided to actually show the other side of things and what it feels like to actually like lose a patient, because these are people that you're working with. They're not just, you know, things that like you don't care about. Like, we're human. I'm not a nurse, but like, you know, everyone's human, and nurses are human, and they have feelings, and they're going to be sad when they lose a patient. If they didn't, you might be a little concerned there. So yes, she recorded herself, but I personally don't see anything wrong with that, because that part of these kinds of jobs don't get shown and displayed enough for people to really understand all of the trauma that these poor people are going through. And was she like just trying to get, you know, like TikTok followers or whatever the case might be? Yeah, I mean, maybe, but at the same time, like, it's true raw emotion. Like, she's not making it up, she's not making a skit, she's not making fun of it. Like, she's just showing that she cares for her patients, and here she goes and she lost another one. So like, I don't understand why she's getting all of this hatred towards her. I don't think that she's going to lose her job. I'm not really too sure, but she's deleted like her social media pages and all this, and I just kind of don't understand it. So I thought that I would bring it up here to talk to you guys about, because I don't have Amanda's opinion to bounce this also off of this episode, so I want to kind of hear what you guys have to think about something like that, because I work in a similar kind of field where I work with death, and so I understand the other side of things, to where sometimes you really just need to have that like release, because what you deal with day in and day out, it's very sad, and we don't get the chance to talk about it, because then we get things like this, you know, we get told we're insensitive and like you can't do things like that, and like what about the family and this and that, and I don't see it as being disrespectful at all, like whatsoever. So I'm curious to hear, do you have one, have you guys heard of this? Two, if you have and you know what I'm talking about, what are your thoughts? Do you think it's disrespectful? Do you think that like, oh, you know, maybe she shouldn't have done that, it's insensitive? Or do you guys kind of get her point of view and thinking, you know what, maybe this is something that the world needs to see a little bit more, and giving more praise to these people, just like, you know, so many other professions out there that don't get the kind of recognition that they deserve, in my opinion. So make sure that you guys tune in and write into us this week and let me know, so that way I have something to, you know, kind of interact with and bounce things out with. because I'll be honest, this is a little weird for me. I dearly, dearly miss Amanda, and, you know, hopefully she'll be back sometime soon. But yeah, anyways, before I even go into that whole thing, so let's see. The other topic that I wanted to bring up is, I don't know if you guys are aware of Lauren London and how she used to date Nipsey Hussle before he was sadly murdered a few years ago. She recently came out with an interview with Angie Martinez, and she was discussing about her grieving process and, you know, how she's really been handling that and what she's been doing. And I thought it was really interesting. It's not something that I have thought about before. So I, again, thought that I would bring it up for discussion here to see what you guys think about it, because I did find it truly interesting, some of her thoughts on how she's been grieving the loss over Nipsey. And one of the things that she had said is that she compared grieving to having pregnancy brain. She is claiming that dealing with such a loss has given her memory loss. Like, you tend to like block out a lot of things. You don't remember certain things. You don't necessarily know like what happened. And it's just not really a perspective that I had thought about before. You know, obviously I wouldn't know like what pregnancy brain is and stuff, but like my friends joke all the time that like I don't remember shit anyway. That's just who I am. My memory is really, really horrible, but that's neither here nor there. And I never thought about it, but after reading this article about the interview that she did, I didn't actually watch the whole interview. It kind of makes sense to me, because for me, I feel like there's a lot of things that I don't necessarily care to remember or pay attention to, and there's times where I really just kind of feel like, I mean, very like brain foggy, I guess you can say. In the past couple of years, I just feel like I've gotten really like blah, and there's a lot of things that like I just don't care about, and I don't have the same like drive for certain things. And I'm wondering if that is kind of like the same thing that Lauren has been experiencing and what she's talking about. And yeah, I'm reading some of it here now, and another thing that she said is, I remember feeling so dark, like am I ever going to laugh? Am I ever going to? Will something really make me chuckle genuinely? And that I feel with my soul, because when you first lose somebody, you feel like it's disrespectful, or you feel like you're just not supposed to laugh and have fun anymore. And I remember that for me, I was very somber, and I was very like, you know, this isn't right. Like, how can I be enjoying myself, or how can I be laughing or something like that when I just lost the biggest thing in my life, you know? So that I totally understand, because you feel guilty about it. But at the end of the day, if that person truly loved you, and I know it's like cliche and whatever, but they really just want you to be happy. They want you to enjoy life because they can't anymore. And that's something that I feel with grief, you just kind of like grow into, and you develop, and you start feeling a little better at the fact that like you should enjoy life, because then you start to kind of like change your thought process, and you realize that life is too short for you to just kind of like be miserable through the rest of yours just because you've experienced a loss. Like, yes, you're going to be sad. Yes, you're going to go through these weird moments of, you know, depression and things like that, but you still have a life to live, and you still need to get out there and actually enjoy life, and, you know, make them proud, because I truly do believe that they are up there looking over you, and they're wanting to see you accomplish things and just enjoy life and stuff. So it's definitely a process. It definitely takes time. when it comes to that and learning how to enjoy yourself. But I don't think the memory loss part goes away. After I've had some time to really think about it and thinking that that really is a thing, I don't know if somebody else has experienced that. I would say that I certainly have. Like, there's certain things that will happen that will trigger memories that I have of my dad, or like things that like happened in the hospital, but it's not something that like I actively think about. And I think that's a part of it because I don't want to. So like I block all of that out of my memory, and even things from like the years that like he was struggling and going through all of these issues and things, I don't remember other things that were happening during those years, because the biggest thing that just sticks in my mind is like, oh, that's when, you know, my dad had his surgery, or, you know, that's when he was like really sick, and that's when, you know, this happened or that happened. And it's always focused around the care to my dad, and it's never anything else. It's never like, oh, you know, this year like I went to, you know, this vacation, or I went to this like park, or, you know, I hung out with these people and we did this crazy cool like adventure thing or something. Like, I couldn't really tell you if I remember any of those things from those years. I know that I did them, but whatever it was, I don't really know. So I definitely think that there's truth to that. And I am curious to hear if you guys have also experienced memory loss when it comes to grieving and losing someone that you truly love. I can't imagine what she's going through. I know losing like a parent is different than losing a spouse or a child. So, you know, everyone, and on top of that, everyone grieves differently. So it's always going to be different, but there are some similarities that you can kind of relate to one another. And yeah, I'm curious to see, because that really stuck out to me when I saw the article written, and I was like, you know what? I've never thought about that before, but maybe there is some truth to it. And I started thinking about it in comparison to me, and I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense, because I totally am the same way. And it's not just because I don't remember a lot of shit. It is also because compounded with not normally remembering things is everything that happened with my father. So, I don't know. Food for thought for you guys. Those are the two things that I wanted to bring up to you guys today, just to provide you guys with some content to keep it consistent, because I would like to say I am proud that me and Amanda have been doing this for 10 months now, which is insane. We have been completely consistent every single week for you guys, every Tuesday. So I couldn't let that fall through now. And don't worry, Amanda is fine. She will be back. But, you know, she just has some things to take care of right now. And so I will try to continue to provide you guys with some content. I hope that you're not too bored listening to me just chat away by myself. And hopefully I'm just as interesting as, you know, we are when we're together. And I hope that you guys will continue to tune into us. And don't forget to always listen every single Tuesday to your favorite podcast, Mindset Talks Podcast. And we'll see you guys next time.